Conservatives have started passing out live.
Europeans are already allergic to the sun.
They want white people to be racist.
You support people vandalizing Teslas. Absolutely, yes I do.
Now I just fully call myself a misandrist. I'm not just woke, I'm dark woke. So I recently stumbled across the term dark woke, and apparently it's been floating around since last year as the left's edgy attempt to defeat Trump. That didn't really work. But now I'm seeing it resurface, and from the few videos that I have seen, no one seems to actually agree on what it means. So today, we're going to try and dissect it, what it claims to be, and what it actually is. But before we start, make sure you are subscribed. Do it now. Me showing JD Vance's mom some so she'll relapse and choose them over her son again? That is not funny. So is dark woke just dark humor? Because this references JD Vance's mother's opioid addiction, which is not funny, but it's dark humor, which is allowed. Grindr went woke and added a rainbow flag. What happened to the app we used to love? Okay. Conservatives have started passing out live on TV.
Oh my god.
I hope she's okay. But I don't see how this would have helped win the election. The woke note.
Real men are not liberal. Let me explain.
The music is sending me. What is this music? Now we've entered full-on look at me, I'm scary territory, right? And it's just cringe. I don't care if this was the opposite, right? Like this person was a conservative, it would still be cringe. With gym talk in general, there tends to be some very interesting videos out there. At this point, just say, real men have to agree with me and go. That's what you're trying to do here. That's what this nonsense is. Also, if someone is constantly preaching, oh, this is what real men do, this is what real women do, that's a red flag usually, yeah. We're all humans. You don't get to gatekeep masculinity or femininity based on your politics. That is silly. I may be dark woke, but nothing turns me into blue hair and pronoun social justice warrior faster than when conservatives start talking about the southern border. So you're edgy until they bring up national security. Okay, are you allergic to having difficult conversations or common sense, like asking people to enter the country legally? That's where the social justice warrior comes out. No! So what, they're trafficking kids, bringing in drugs? No, that's fine. Every other country is allowed to want a secure border to protect their people, except us?
Europeans won't survive Mars, but others will, because Mars doesn't cater to fragility. It doesn't hand out sunscreen, it doesn't tolerate lactose, it doesn't adjust its atmosphere for respiratory colonial nostalgia.
Respiratory colonial nostalgia. Girl, what are you on?
Europeans are already allergic to the sun, earth, spices, the shade, the sand, the sound of non-English phonetics, concept of squatting, and the mere idea of going a day without refrigeration, deodorant, or conquest. And you think they're gonna make it on Mars?
Are you against deodorant? What is this about? So first of all, no one is surviving on Mars. Not me, not you, not the lactose intolerant. My condolences if that's you, right? Not Elon. Currently, it's not possible. So I'm not sure what this is. I'm guessing it's your hatred for Europeans that has inspired this and made you want to write an interplanetary fanfiction about their extinction. And it's always dressed up in this overly poetic, like slam poetry on open mic night language. But if the roles were reversed, someone made a speech like this but swap the identities, it would be taken down immediately. But because it's woke coded and anti-colonial, we're supposed to applaud. Or I guess in this case, snap is probably more appropriate. How I have to talk to white people, light-skinned people, brown-skinned people, non-black, people of color, thin people, able-bodied people, cis people, heterosexual people, religious fundamentalists, wealthy people, Westerners, anything else?
You know nothing about community care. No, you don't. You know nothing about keeping people safe. No, you don't.
This is next level grift. Now they're putting their Patreons as their usernames. Send me money, I'm so oppressed.
If you took the time to shut your mouth just for once and listen to someone further marginalized, maybe you
It just keeps going.
could be a better person if you really tried. But you still need to let go of that supremacist mindset. Yes, you do. You think you are smarter than me, but you're not. No, you aren't.
We're back in the oppression Olympics. I don't think these people want equality. I think they want control. They want to control who gets to speak and who has to shut up. And you want people to care about your voice. Generalizing an entire group and then acting like you're the main character in some angry musical that no one bought tickets to will not work.
I do white people, and yes, I mean white people, have to make situations comfortable for everyone else. And while this conversation does not pertain to every single white individual, just hear me out. I don't know about other minorities, but personally for me, when I walk into events with almost exclusively white individuals, I always just kind of like hold my breath, because I anticipate, which it doesn't always happen, but I do anticipate that there will be someone who does something that's a bit ostracizing for me. They, point me out, and then I feel like an other.
So this woman knows that she's stereotyping. She even throws in the not all white people disclaimer. But if you're already kind of self-aware, why keep going? You sound like you're bracing for backlash before you even speak. But here's the thing, if you're walking into every room bracing for offense because someone is white, that is not awareness, that is paranoia. That is you, again, stereotyping an entire race. You're part of the problem.
They want white people to be racist towards them. Those videos of the women, the black women, like recording themselves in a bathroom, and a white woman literally glances at them, and then they go about their business, and then all of a sudden, she's so racist, she looked at me. Doesn't it get tiring? Magnify every single white person to see if they're racist towards you or not.
People on Twitter will really be like, you believe in voting? That pales in effectiveness to my strategy. Firebombing a Walmart, and then not firebomb a Walmart. Anytime you will ever see a leftist critiquing liberals for doing something on the internet, one of them is going to drop that image, and it's so annoying every time. But the worst part is, it's kind of justified. A lot of leftists just sit in their room all day on their phones, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, probably on Blue Sky, and just complain, but they don't do anything.
So then it escalates. Are we mad that leftists aren't actually firebombing Walmarts? Is that what's going on?
Zoran is the first actual left-leaning person to be close to like a real substantial position of power in the United States in God knows how long. And you have leftists on Twitter and on TikTok and shit just being like, I don't know, man. He's not walking around with the Communist Manifesto in his back pocket.
He praises Mamdani like he's some revolutionary leader. No. He panders to the far left while ignoring what real New Yorkers actually need. Safety. Hello, that should be the priority. But he's being praised because he calls himself a democratic socialist. Me, a raging leftist, when I'm talking to a liberal about how we can take action against our government.
It's unacceptable. We shouldn't let them get away with it.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah, let's
have a piece of our mind.
Yeah. Your thing.
You did not need to DM me, spam it under my comments 500 times, and make a video about it. You could have just asked me, Cam, do you support people vandalizing Teslas? Absolutely, yes, I do.
Oh, there's the vandalism. This is exactly the behavior that pushes regular people away from the left, by the way. You don't build a better world by destroying it every time you're inconvenienced, right? Just because you don't like a brand's politics doesn't mean you get to smash a window or key a car or set things on fire or loot a Louis Vuitton. You are throwing a tantrum, and normal people can see through that BS, especially after the BLM riots, right? Some people woke up finally.
Gender, sexuality, religion should not hinder you from getting into positions of power. Everyone should have an equal opportunity. Democrats focus so much on all those little identity politics. I think we should just leave all that out and just let meritocracy decide. And
wait, what did you say? I said that we should leave the identities out of it. I don't think we should focus on that stuff. Okay, so I think we agree on that. How do you feel about Zoran Mamdani winning the New York City mayoral primary?
That brown immigrant from Africa who worships a different god than me. He's a Muslim, you see.
You didn't mention a single thing about qualifications.
They want the white erasure.
And apparently if you don't support him, it's because he's brown and Muslim, not because of his extremely reckless policies. Interesting that's where your mind goes. Some of us are actually capable of separating identity from ideology. Others aren't though, and they project their biases on everyone else. If your strongest defense for him is you're racist, if you disagree, you should take a closer look at who you're supporting.
Yeah, Western leftism is genuinely an infantile disorder. I'm sorry, we ain't never getting revolution. There was this tweet going around that was like, leftists need to start going to the gym. Which is true. We do need to start going to the gym. I need to start going to the gym. But so many people saw that tweet and started going, how can I make the original poster experience hell for not carving out an exception for me specifically? Oh, this is ableism, this is body shaming, this is fat phobia, typecasting, hypermasculinity.
Finally, someone said it. Some self-awareness from the left. I love it.
Nobody cares about you specifically. I'm sorry. It is fine and acceptable to encourage people to exercise and to cook and to clean. Like, you all are just so pedantic and petty and infantile.
If that's what dark woke is, acknowledging that not every issue needs to be reframed around identity, great. Let's do more of that. But so far, it's dark humor and some self-awareness. But also there was that promoting violence, so what is dark woke?
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. I'm dark Gothic MAGA.
Now, I've also read that this is in response to dark MAGA, something I also didn't know that existed, but apparently it's like the MAGA's moodier alter ego. But when I search that up, all I get is black MAGA hats, Elon Musk, and then dark manga. So I don't think it's as popular, or maybe it's just being censored, I don't know. But let's assume it has a similar message, that we tried civility, now we burn it all down, right? It would still be rooted in rage and would just be another performance without an actual strategy underneath. On both sides, when they try too hard to be edgy, especially in comedy, the jokes usually do not land. On the left, you'll often hear things like, well, abortion. Like, what's the joke? On the right, you'll often hear slurs for shock value. No twist, no wit. Sometimes both sides act like toddlers who just learned a new curse word and are telling each other the word, and it's so funny. I just find it kind of lazy. You're not edgy for being full of hate or saying burn it all down. You sound unstable. You sound desperate to be taken seriously while rejecting the actual work required to be respected. Which does require, by the way, looking at the other side, trying to understand the other side, and having conversations. Your friend that tries so hard to be woke.
This is gonna sound so bad, but I honestly don't even care. I'm glad Hitler's dead.
Did you see all those homeless people outside? Roofless community is what I call it. They have a home, a beautiful, beautiful community of people sharing needles, but they just don't have a roof. Oh, sorry. Don't say that either. So RRY is a common Canadian phrase, and I'm currently boycotting Canada because a few months ago a transgender polar bear wasn't allowed on the communal iceberg.
As a leftist, you're not immune to misinformation. Why am I seeing so much blatant misinformation, lies spread by the left right now? There aren't incinerators being installed at Alligator Alcatraz. That was a rumor. Same with the dropping out of planes.
So another solid point, just because you're on the left or the right does not mean that you are immune to misinformation. People online repost rumors at lightning speed, especially on TikTok. So if you claim to be fighting for the truth, you better be just as willing to fact check your own side too. Otherwise, you're just playing team sports. My team! I'm on the right, I'm on the left! It's that tribalism, it's that groupthink, and you become a sheep. Doesn't matter what extreme you find yourself on.
You're celebrating the US prison industrial complex gaining another victim. That is seriously messed up. I hope you're happy. Why do you have to argue? You don't even know what he did? He tried to kill me.
Unpopular opinion, I think people can be too woke. Yes, this should be a very popular opinion. You're celebrating the prison industrial complex. No, that's not what this is. That's not what this moment is about. Not every situation is about your ideology, right? Sometimes it's just holding dangerous people accountable. And if your first instinct is to defend the abuser over the survivor, you have completely lost the plot.
Because this epidemic of male loneliness on the right, it's because they keep trying to court women that only exist in campaign ads and TikTok thirst traps made for profit. These men are chasing an idea of womanhood that doesn't exist anywhere outside a screen or a fantasy. Some hyper-submissive, Bible-toting, Instagram-polished Stepford Barbie who votes red, never talks back, and thinks empathy is a liberal plot to weaken men. But here's a kicker. Even the women pretending to be that don't believe in it. The influencers they idolize, they're not pious homemakers, they're power chasers. Not every woman who chooses a traditional path is part of this performance. And that's real. This is about the costume version. Because these men aren't in love with women, they're in love with control. That's not love, that's a mirror, and it's why they stay lonely.
So I actually agree with a good chunk of this. Many who are promoting that image are not traditional at all. It's a costume. Some of them are even running OF accounts. Come on, a lot of men do fall for it. And those women are preaching about modesty and submission, and they're out here making money, doing pornography. So I agree with him there. But where the critique loses me is when it turns into a full-on attack on men on the right, while ignoring the toxicity that's also been normalized on the left, where there's an entire culture that now teaches women to hate men, to view all of them as oppressive, useless, dangerous. Every single man is inherently evil. That is not feminism anymore. And just like some men chase that fantasy woman, some women now reject men entirely. Both are stuck in an unrealistic loop. Both end up lonely. And what we're seeing is a collapse of trust and mutual respect. Many men and women alike have checked out of dating completely. And then we have this epidemic of loneliness that's growing on both sides. So blaming one political party or one gender gender misses the point entirely, and it only leads to more resentment. I'm not just woke, I'm dark woke. Basically, it's where you're a leftist, but you try to actually build power and prioritize things that negatively affect real people instead of focusing on like he, him, lesbians, or whatever. How it feels to be dark woke on an internet full of beta reactionary dorks. Girl, you're so scary. Open your eyes. A new trend called dark woke. This is a newer style of online activism. Instead of staying polite and traditional, you guys were so polite and traditional before, people are going bold, loud, and emotional to get political points across. This is very new. Woke people were never emotional before. It's a reaction to how the right often dominates social media. Really? It's called dark woke, kind of like being unapologetically outspoken about progressive values. So dark woke also means being louder and more emotional, which is funny because when was regular woke ever calm and rational? At this point, everyone has their own definition of dark woke. For some, it's edgy memes and dark humor, right? And then for others, it's violent rhetoric. But then it's also sometimes rejecting identity politics and calling out people who are too woke. But now it also means just being louder? You guys need a group chat, all right? Figure it out. This is a bit messy. When I used to preface my views with feminism isn't man-hating, it's equality, now I just fully call myself a misandrist. She's essentially bragging about going from advocating for equality to openly calling herself a misandrist. And she says it with a smile, like it's cute. But turning hatred into a personality trait, whether it's misogyny or misandry, just makes you look bitter. You're not becoming empowered, you're becoming the thing that you claim to hate, a sexist. So what is dark woke really? For some, it's satire, edgy memes, dark humor, and when it lands, it can be funny. Cool. Humor can be sharp, it can be powerful. But for others, dark woke has become this cringy excuse for violence, vandalism, dehumanization of people with opposing beliefs. And then in some corners, it's a rebellion against the overly sensitive, identity-obsessed version of progressivism. That makes sense, but it gets buried under so much juvenile performance that the whole thing just seems incoherent, chaotic, and that's not surprising when woke is in the title. This all feels like middle schoolers cosplaying Revolution, trying so hard to appear dark, edgy, and radical, when a lot of these individuals in these spaces, right, are some of the most sensitive people you will ever meet. The second someone challenges their beliefs or tone, they either spiral into rage or play victim. Even some self-identified woke people are starting to call it out, since the movement starts to look more and more like a tantrum and doesn't actually get anything done. Of course, this behavior exists on both extremes, but I guess it's just way more tolerated on the woke side, at least right now. Dark woke in particular seems like desperation masked as rebellion. They're saying, we're not fragile anymore, look at us, we're so scary. Glorifying violence isn't new for your side, and it's never been impressive. It doesn't signal strength, it signals insecurity. And it won't lead to real change unless the change you're looking for is to push normal, reasonable people further away from your side. If the goal is alienation, congratulations. Mission accomplished. You guys let me know what you think. Is dark woke a real cultural shift, or just the latest identity crisis from political movements that have run out of steam? Let me know in the comments below. Also remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.